Welcome back to everyone's favorite improv and general topic conversation, the To Be Continued podcast. I'm your host, Troy, with my co-host, the No Way Home, Cannon.
Where the fuck am I then? If there's no way home, I don't want to be where I currently am.
I mean, you don't want to explore the multiverse?
I mean, if I'm exploring the multiverse, then something bad's probably happened. And I'm not the person to be out there on my own exploring the multiverse.
I will say some of my favorite shows that have been discontinued explore the idea of like a multiverse. I can't remember what the show's actually called. Maybe somebody who's listening will know what I'm talking about. But I want to say it was like this building, right? It's basically indestructible. It looks abandoned. There's like a single elevator inside. But eventually, or I don't know if it's like something they trigger or something that's timed, but it jumps between realities.
Oh god, I know exactly what you're talking about. Is
like in the show they meet like a girl in the tower and there's like three of them and they don't realize that they're like three different versions. They keep like pretending to be the same person to the two people that are in the building looking for like his dad or something.
Jeez. I know I've seen it before, but I cannot remember what it's called. It's not 12 Monkeys.
No. 12 Monkeys is a different one.
Yeah, it's a time
They
thing.
go back in time for that one.
Yeah, and it's not Travelers.
It might be something like that.
What's it on?
I have no idea. It's been years since I've seen the show. But I still remember it because it was really interesting how they jump between like a normal reality, like an apocalyptic reality. There's one where they go to like a futuristic one where everyone's paying from like their DNA or something. They just put their hand on a scanner basically, and like it scans your DNA, and that's your bank account.
Yeah, man. I definitely know what this show is. I just also cannot remember what the show is.
I highly recommend that if you figure out the show, to watch it. Just do some basic Google searching, indestructible building, like time travel thing. It's not even time travel. It's like universal travel. But, you know, if you figure it out, watch the show. Let us know what it was called and what your thoughts are on it. Have you seen a bunch of these kind of traveling shows like Doctor Who or, obviously we just said 12 Monkeys, but yeah. Do you watch these kind of things?
Yeah, I like watching those sort of, I like a good sci-fi sort of show going on, so like that. Dark is very popular. It's very good, kind of foreign based time travel thing on Netflix. Extremely good. It's those sort of things. Glitch is more of a things coming back, people coming back from the dead and trying to figure it out. I like those sort of mysteries or varying time travel. A very dumb time travel show on Hulu. God, I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'll definitely have to look it up, but there are quite a few that I like to go out for.
Not gonna lie, when you said a very dumb show, my first thought was 12 Monkeys, because it gets really boring at segments, but it's not bad. I don't think I watched like the last season of it. I watched a lot of it, don't get me wrong, but I also really like these kind of like sci-fi shows. I feel like it's been a little different since COVID though. It's like some of these apocalyptic things are like hitting a little bit too close to home, and you're just like, I don't want to watch this right now. I need something like The Good Place or something.
Yeah, man, I definitely get that. I definitely haven't watched nearly as much as I used to.
I feel like maybe that's the reason Ted Lasso was so good like these past 2 years, is simply because it was more of an uplifting story. Like it had some realism to it, but it wasn't like super stressed, you know?
Yeah, I can definitely say that. It's very enjoyable show. Very enjoyable.
As far as the sci-fi things go, I think a lot of that stuff has gotten a little bit too dark for me lately. As we were growing up, you had some sci-fi elements, and they were pretty good and they were far out there. But since I want to say like Black Mirror started coming out and shows like that, when that debuted, I feel like it changed the game a little bit to like hyper-realism sci-fi. It was like, ooh, this is a good show, but these shows are hitting too close.
Yeah, that's why I never watched any of the Black Mirror stuff, because I saw kind of how episodes were looking. I was like, I don't think I want to watch this, but it did bring on things like Altered Carbon, which I like really enjoy, and such. And I like the idea of more futuristic, cyberpunk, Shadowrun, like sci-fi worlds to traverse in. That I've really enjoyed that. But Black Mirror, those more kind of like mother AI systems taking over. I'm all right for the most part. I don't need the horror. But then they got like good movies like Upgrade, which, I mean, if you haven't gone and seen Upgrade, you can't, because it's not out anywhere. But
if you haven't seen it, then you're not supposed to see it.
I mean, you'd have to go and buy it or have a cool friend who owns it. But that is a great kind of futuristic movie with lots of great turns and twists and a lot of good action to it. That's very enjoyable. Would highly recommend. So I'm glad we got things like that and sci-fi kind of making its return for more neutral things. I mean, we just got Dune, and we're gonna get a part 2 to Dune. If you didn't know that, now you know.
I do agree. I like them returning to more like the sci-fi channel, sort of not super close to home sci-fi. Obviously, like Altered Carbon is like supposed to be like dystopia, like future, but it does feel like so distant that it doesn't feel like now in most ways. I actually really like Altered Carbon. The idea behind it is that essentially we are implanted with like a chip that becomes our consciousness holder, essentially. And some people use that to like swap bodies and live longer and like do like secret missions and stuff. And in the show, you learn a bunch of different things about that, like people like coming back from the dead for a day, for like holidays or like illegal activities and stuff. But you gotta watch the show to really get into like the intricate details of what's loud and what's not. But I think that kind of like dystopian future sort of thing is really well done for a show. I think if they had pushed that into a movie, it wouldn't have been good, unless it was done by like Marvel or something. But I'm glad to see these things coming out as like good shows, because I think that's the real place to see these things versus like single episodes like Black Mirror.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely like having a good kind of series to really help build the world. It's much harder doing it in a single episode, because I know I'm not gonna, if I know I'm not gonna have another episode, you can't cram all the cool little intricacies of how everything works or how everything kind of came to be unless you're just yelling it over, kind of like a voiceover, very quickly. But it's very unsatisfying in that manner. I want to know more about how the world works. I want to understand how economy is going, which I typically don't give a fuck about economy in real life, but I care about it in the apocalyptic sense. As how's this working?
You're going through life just like, yeah, the bank can like do whatever with my money, but when you watch a show, like, oh shit, they're investing in stocks?
I'm like, oh man, how's it gonna work out? Wait a minute, if pebbles are now the currency, what happens when you find like a boulder? Huh?
It's so funny how like the smallest things in life just don't even matter to you. Even like some large things don't even matter. Like fixing your car, like you just take it to a mechanic. But in a show, it's like no. How he learned how to fix his car matters.
He's gonna have to learn how to, because there's no mechanic to do it for him anymore. This is now what once was a normal everyday resource is now a delicacy in the future. It's now such a refined thing that you have to be able to take care of it. It's, oh my god, they found a cow. It's the only cow I've seen in 7 episodes. It's the only cow they've seen in 3 years, and now they have to take care of it.
Well, I mean, I think that's perfectly fair, because in real life, a lot of us wouldn't know how to do that sort of thing. But even like the simplest things are just overblown, It's like, how do you make a lock? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I just put in a key.
Yeah, I just gotta put it in and take it out, and now it's unlocked.
Yeah. I will say something that hasn't hit TV yet that I am looking forward to, and I have seen this done in a couple different ways, like some overseas shows, but I want something mainstream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you've seen, what's it called? If you've ever seen like Solo Leveling, the manga, or like Dungeon Reset, the manga, or like any like isekai sort of game show, like Sword Art Online, right? That's a pretty big one, where they have like levels and stuff. I want to see more live action versions of that, where like the world has like monsters come in or something, or like they go to a different world, but it's like really like detailed live action gritty like Squid Game, and actually have like an interface pop up showing their stats and stuff, because I think that would be really, really dope.
That would be really, really dope. I would like to see that. I could see them doing like a Sword Art Online kind of version of that for live action, since of how big anime that is and such. If they were to do more of a solo leveling, or like a really any of those sort of isekai based video games stat wise sort of situations, manga or manhwas in a live action format, would be very cool to see. Would be kind of difficult to do, and yeah, if they had someone mainstream that actually made it all actually look good and be good, it would probably be very popular. But at the same time, Cowboy Bebop got canceled after season 1.
So, I mean, that's a perfect example of what not to do. So the show that I'm thinking of that's really good, I highly check it out on Netflix. It's called Memories of the Alhambra. It's kind of like that What I Want, like video game real life kind of thing. They don't go too far into the game aspects of it, other than like enemies appearing and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the Cowboy Bebop for sure feels just like a really high budget fan show. It doesn't feel like they got people to be like, okay, this is how this would actually work. They're like, no, let's subscribe 1-to-1 from anime to real life. This is how it looks. We're gonna make it look exactly like that.
Damn, man. I don't know what went wrong with that show.
Well, I mean, I think it's just too cartoony looking. Like, there's not like real dirt on their clothes, it feels like. It's like there's too vibrant. The lines don't feel natural when it's done in the live action version. I mean, I don't know what they needed, but they need more like grit somehow. They need more like emotion. Kind of like Firefly, right?
Yeah.
Like Firefly felt like, they were in those characters, and Cowboy Bebop's just like, this is just a fan adaptation.
So you're saying they needed a gritty reboot of Cowboy Bebop. They need a Christopher Nolan Batman reboot.
Yeah, we need Tim Burton to direct the next Cowboy Bebop.
All right.
It would be dark.
All right, Tim.
Honestly, that might not be a bad connection, because Cowboy Bebop was pretty dark in some of these episodes. So I feel like if Tim Burton did it, he would be like properly doing it,
That'd be cool. Definitely, like I said, Burton, get off your ass, start working on it. I don't care what you're doing right now. Get it done.
I have no idea what he's doing. He might have just taken a break for COVID.
Too bad. You're off break now. The fans need you.
How do you feel about the people that are like really big and they just kind of stop working on whatever projects people really cared about, right? Like, for instance, what's his name? Steve something.
Steve something.
Yeah, he did. Man, I'm blanking really hard on this right now.
Steve something definitely did something.
What's that really popular show that's on HBO?
Really popular
that
show
like ended
HBO.
recently.
Recently
and many seasons, has like the dragons and the dragon lady. Man, I'm just blanking.
The dragon and the dragon lady. What, Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones. I cannot think.
Okay, yeah. What about Game of Thrones?
I'm sure many people love Game of Thrones. They're just like, what the hell are you talking about?
Many people love all but the last season of Game of Thrones.
What's his name? Like Steve Martin or something? I can't remember the author's actual name, but he just doesn't work on the books or something. Like, people have been like waiting for his last book for like 10 years or something stupid like that.
George R.R. Martin?
Yeah, George R.R. Martin.
Steve.
I threw you off with the
Where
Steve.
Where the fuck was Steve?
Like, who's Steve?
I was like, who the fuck is Steve? I don't remember that character in Game of Thrones.
But
they all had weird ass. They had those weird names.
But yeah, I mean, like, he's massively popular. He doesn't need to finish the book.
Yeah.
Right? It's probably just going to make people upset no matter what he does. So, like, why even bother, right? How do you feel about those people who just get massively popular and just kind of ride on that coattail versus actually continuing what they were doing?
I think when you are done with something, then you're just done with that thing. It's unfortunate that, you don't get to continue it. I mean, I feel like you should finish whatever you start. You should always try to aim to finish what you start. But once you finish it, then you're done with it. You don't have to continue. You don't have to bring it back when you start. I mean, was I mad that Demon Slayer was over on the manga, at least, and there wasn't any more of it?
Yeah, I mean, they had a movie upset for you.
Yeah, fuck that movie, dude. I've seen them. I've read the manga. Once the manga was over, I was like, okay, this is it. There's no more. There's not going to be coming out with any more and such. And that's how I felt about Bleach until they brought it back 20 years later, and then just released a trailer for the 1,000-Year Blood arc to be animated and such, coming out in October next year. Let's check it out.
Well, here's the thing with at least like Demon Slayer, right? And like maybe potentially Bleach could wrap it into this too. They finished their project.
Yeah.
Like it has a start to finish properly. Like Game of Thrones, the books at least, doesn't have a finish. So you just like imagine okay, Hunter x Hunter, the manga and anime are a great depiction of this. They just stopped for like many, many years. Like, would you rather be like in an amazing show and just have it completely stop for whatever reason? Or would you rather have it finish?
Like I said, if it's finished, then it's fine if you don't continue anything else. But you got to finish it, at least. That's ideal. It's what we need to happen. But if there's if it's just incomplete, it's always gonna feel terrible. And I felt that way for a lot of good like shows and books and varied manga that I've read. And I was like, man, I really wish this would continue because I finished the anime of Hunter x Hunter and I went to the manga. And I continued, I was like, finally, we're talking about my boy, the man who brings a shovel to bury his enemy, Kurapika. I was like, thank God I get to see more about this. Now, okay, it's over.
Yeah, and to be fair, I feel like when they come back to something, it's not super high quality. If you pause, I feel like you should just stay paused forever. Like The Sopranos, just cut it off hard, right? Because Hunter x Hunter is, again, another great example for this. I started reading it when it came back, and I was like, this is boring now. Like, there's no momentum. It feels like they completely switched authors almost. It's like just writing a whole different version of this story. Yeah. And, Bleach is a great example of that, right? They're bringing it back, and Naruto coming to Boruto, again, it feels completely different.
Yeah, no, it is completely different. But I am, like, the only thing I am looking for the 1,000-Year Blood arc to finally be animated. Because, I mean, if you haven't seen that trailer, it looks good.
I haven't seen it at all.
Don't worry, I'll show it to you after this. But damn it, does it like the animation? I was like, okay, this definitely looks like. All right, back then we had this animation style, and it looked good for the time. They definitely have upgraded to what it should look like now. It doesn't still look like it did. It looks much better, as it's comparable to anime that are really well animated now.
I feel like anime doesn't need to upgrade that much. Like there's big generational gaps. Don't get me wrong. Like Shin-Chan is a really old anime that's still going, but it's like basically hand drawn, like very cartoony. And like Astro Boy, right? Those are like the iconic like 80s, 70s animes, right? And then you have your new gen. I would say your Naruto, your Fooly Cooly, and those really introduced a completely different anime style. That's a little bit more flashy, a little bit more color graded, I want to say, or like cell shaded, whatever it is that they have that pops the color a little bit more than the old style. And then nowadays they're doing that like Gantz thing where everything is like 3D animated and it looks weird.
It does look weird. I just watched in April there's the new Dragon Ball like Z movie coming out and everything. I'll show you that trailer too. And yeah, it's that entire kind of 3D animation thing going on. I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but at least they're bringing my boy Gohan back.
I mean, I just feel like we're hitting like the uncanny valley of anime right now, where it's just like they're trying to improve it too far, and they should just stick with like the modern like color improvement drawing style that the 2000s, early 2000s, I should say, like 2010s had. And even like some of the nice computer graphics ones like Spirited Away did. But I don't think we should be pushing into this like 3D, 2D realm.
So there are a couple good examples of actually like good anime that are like completely 3D or CGI'd in that nature. Like Land of the Lustrous is phenomenal. it looks a little weird in the beginning, and then you instantly get used to it because the story is great. And then on the flip side of the 3D thing, you still have like Gantz, and it looks really odd the entire time. Or you have like Ajin, and I'm like, I watched all of it because the story was good, but I always felt disconnected to it because of how it looked. But then you have like Violent Evergarden that just look phenomenal throughout the entire thing. You have like Asobia, you have like Jujutsu Kaisen, you've got this upcoming Bleach, and just these things, Chainsaw Man coming out, and they elevate what anime looks like. They have Mob Psycho Season 3 trailer, and Mob Psycho in general.
I mean, Mob Psycho doesn't have that 3D aspect, I would say, other than like fight scenes, maybe they use it.
For me, it's on the other side. While we have this 3D stuff going on, and I don't like it very much, we have still an upgraded version of this nice 2D based drawings that are going on and just being brought up from the varying color schemes and how they're being animated and such that are completely, for the most part, non-3D or nothing within actual need for being 3D. So we have like the best of the best, and we also just have the 3D terribleness going on at the same simultaneously.
I mean, do you think it's something more along the lines of just like production value? Like either costs too much to do like a 2D version that's done really well, such as like Mob Psycho, or it costs too much to do like a better 3D quality than just like the lowest quality version? I
think it's definitely more of a 3D problem. I would say that it's much easier. Obviously, I remember seeing more of a little like 10-minute documentary on was it Miyazawa? Is it Miyazawa?
Miyazaki?
Yeah, Miyazaki talking about
I can't think of the Game of Thrones and you can't think of Miyazaki.
I couldn't think of Miyazaki in the moment because it's been a while since I saw that little interview that he had done.
To be fair, I think he's retired. Well, he's like in and out of retirement. He's like in and out of
retirement. It was one of those things where he was in retirement and he's like, I kind of want to come back and make this thing. And he was doing like 3D drawings versions of things instead because it's just much easier and much quicker to get them out than having to hand draw it, erase, and retry all those things. So I understand that being easier to put out, having the actual 3D models and things of that nature, and it's easier to kind of animate it because you don't have to do it drawing by drawing. So I can see why why studios are making a lot more 3D stuff in comparison to the like 2D like Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid S and things of that nature that are just really well animated, that are all drawn in for the most part non-CGI. But it's also kind of weird seeing little bits of CGI and things. I understand like the car being CGI or 3D, and it's like, okay, it's just there, or like some of the background people, but not my main ones.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm totally fine with giving depth to the show, using 3D elements to it for sure, like backgrounds, like background people. But when the foreground is in 3D and it doesn't have like proper blending to it, and it's like very obvious this is like a 3D model, that's when it's just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like, is this like less work? Is it just less money? Is it like it costs too much to put the effort to make it look natural? It's something that I think it's gonna change over time. But again, like we're in this like uncanny valley where it just doesn't work right now for a lot of things. And it works really well right before it in that style where it's kind of a blend. Mm-hmm. But like it's in that push where it's too 3D, and we have to find the better 3D quality that's going to come in the next couple of years, just a little bit quicker, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how it's going. Like I said, I prefer things with more of the traditional art styles and just being elevated to new levels. I like Ranking of Kings. It looks more crayonish when it comes to the actual color palette and stuff, but it works extremely well with that story. But we could definitely talk about this for a long period of time.
I mean, easily. I think with modern TV shows, I feel like some of the quality in that is starting to become more independent. So like Squid Game quality CGI effects, right? Mr. Beast had a video where he did Squid Game in real life on his channel, but a lot of it was CGI in the background and stuff, not with the actual interaction with a bunch of the people, but like the backgrounds. and that was done by like a small team of maybe like 10 to 20 people in like the course of a week.
That's great.
I mean, to be fair, Mr. Beast has a lot of money, probably paid them really well. But I know a lot of things in Japan are changing with like anime artists getting paid a lot more than just like $100 a week.
Which is good.
Because, I mean, for people who didn't know, a lot of those artists got paid like dirt, like nothing. They all lived in the same house because they couldn't afford an apartment for themselves. And that's changing because like unions and just general appreciation for anime. But I think as we see like the TV shows coming back from like COVID, like we were talking about earlier, those effects from anime and the TV shows, I think are going to become more independently produced. I'm hoping for more American animes and shows to come out done by even like YouTubers. I mean, can you imagine like a YouTuber making his own anime every week or every 2 weeks there's a new episode and it looks good?
That would be cool. What Critical Role's like doing a Vox Machina sort of thing going on as well. I believe that's going to be its own series, or it's already its own series. I don't really pay attention too much to Critical Role, but it looks like it's well animated and such. It doesn't seem to have any 3D to it, and they're coming out with episodes, so that'll be cool.
I mean, I'm just looking forward to the day where we can pull out our phone and we can have like the Iron Man-esque interface, right? So like if we wanted to shoot just like a short film for us, it's just an like a filter essentially. It's like, hey, move your hands around, like pretend like you're pressing some buttons. I hit this filter and it makes it look like you're interacting with the screen.
I know they at the Game Awards they just announced the Unreal Engine like 5 thing going on and they had like a little Matrix demo to it, and it looks really, really good. I wouldn't say it's world. It's not, if you put the world right next to it sort of thing side by side, it's noticeable, but it's extremely detailed to the matter and changes alongside of things to make it seem as natural as possible as it currently could be.
Well, I mean, like, do you think within the next 5 years, 10 years, we'll see more independent, like American produced things, or even just like UK, India, like just in general, the hands outside of like the top producers?
I think in probably about like 10 to 15 years, we'll probably wake up from the simulation. And by that point, we'll realize that everything that we thought was fake was real.
I mean, do you actually like... There's evidence, right, that people, they always stout like we can only go so far in a microscope because theoretically we should go further down, but we can't because it's quite possible we're in a simulation or something like that.
We're getting the barriers popped up. We can't go any further down.
How do you react, right, if you found out this was the simulation? Like people are watching what we're doing. Like what are the Sims of somebody else's life?
Well, then I'd want to know why they've made it in such a way that you currently aren't subscribed to the Patreon. So why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon real quick so we can appease our overlords who are currently watching down upon us to see the content because they're subscribed, they're watching us. So why aren't you watching us? Get on the Patreon, check out the Twitter. Hit out the website, get everything. Spotify, Anchor, we're everywhere.
Yeah, we can't level up. We don't have any listeners.
Yeah, come on, man.
We're like somebody's idol game right now, and they haven't like leveled up at all.
This is an auto clicker kind of game.
They clicked like 4 times, and that was it. They just let the game just run forever.
Oh man, but yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to react to it. I mean, I'd probably want to stay in the simulation because this is just what I'm used to and everything, and I don't know what's out there. But you got to check it out. But other than that, you want to talk about holiday stuff?
I think we're out of time. That might have to be in our continued this week.
Dun.
So subscribe to the Patreon, like you said. Check us out on Twitter at 2BContinuedPod. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. We're going to be uploading to YouTube with our audio format. Check us out, please. And we appreciate all the support.
Yeah. Have all this.